Today I'm here with Graham Shye, the Mayor of the Goondiwindi Regional Council, to see just what Goondiwindi Regional Council ratepayers can expect in the coming year. Well, Graham, the Goondiwindi Regional Council has managed to deliver a surplus operating budget for the year. How has that been achieved?
Basically, the major contributor result is that Goondiwindi Regional Council will share in a record amount of flood damage repair work this year. This has resulted in the full productivity for the staff we have employed and has maximised the full use of our plant and equipment. This, along with a number of efficiency gains in the water, waste and sewage delivery, combined with some cross-border work sharing processes, that has added to the productivity of our Goondiwindi Regional Council.
In doing so, I can see that Council will still require 5% more income to produce that result.
Yes, Pat. A couple of the increases in wages and the increased cost of materials, and take into account the drop in the income from our investments, Council will require 5% more in gross income to cover these increases. However, this is a gross figure, and the Goondiwindi Regional Council still retains the 15% discount incentive, which will mean that the average person will see an increase in their general rates of 4.25% should they take up the discount on offer.
You mentioned the discount. Now, just how does that work?
Well, basically, ratepayers have the option of paying by a due date. Ratepayers must ensure that the funds are cleared into the council account by the due date, and the 15% discount will be allowed. But far too often, ratepayers leave this payment until the last day, and sometimes banks will delay in getting the funds into the account by the due date, or the cheque goes astray in the mail, or whatever. In this case, discount will not be allowed, so I urge ratepayers to process these payments a couple of days prior. The 15% is far too big an incentive to miss out on, and there will be no exceptions.
Does this mean that after discount, everyone will see an increase of 4.25% in their rates?
No, not everyone. Council bases their rates on the land valuations apportioned by the Valuer General. These notices would have been received in the mail recently, and if ratepayers have received a major variance in their valuation, whether it be up or down, it is reasonable to assume that their rates will vary accordingly. There will be no exceptions to the rule, and these may appear in specific categories. If your valuation in your designated category is roughly the category average, then you may expect the average of 4.25% after discount. If not, then you can expect some variation to the end result.
Now, urban dwellers of the Goondiwindi Regional Council appear to be spared when it comes to increases in the utility charges.
Yes, Pat, this year we're pleased to announce that urban ratepayers have been spared any major increases, and this is due mainly to the efficiency gains and improved productivity for the year. Urban waste collection will increase by $5 per householder for a first bin. At the same time, I must advise that the Goondiwindi Regional Council is currently preparing a waste management strategy which will involve the community consultation and a full assessment of the landfill site management, including operating times and just who should be paying for what services. Water connection fees for a standard 20mm water connection will remain unchanged at $335, while sewage connection fees will also remain unchanged at $330 per pedestal.
Has the Goondiwindi Regional Council been able to establish a true figure following the implementation of the carbon tax?
Well, Pat, not really, as we're a council that is not directly affected by the carbon tax. However, it would be foolish to say we are not affected. Everything is rising sharply in cost. We have taken into account the best of available estimates when it comes to the materials supplied and the expected increases, but we will not have a true indication until well into the year. Having said that, I believe the estimates used are pretty close to the mark.
Likewise, the cost of water hasn't drastically increased.
Once again, Council is lucky to have such a reliable source of water supply in our river systems, and while not endless, it's an extremely reliable source. Our urban water will increase from $1.03 per kilolitre to $1.05 per kilolitre, which is a modest rise in the current water supply climate. It's one way we can help keep a presentable town, yet not waste the valuable commodity that water is.
Well, the Goondiwindi region is famous for being a friendly, green, tidy region, and all towns and townships presented in immaculate condition to visitors and potential residents. Now, is this expensive to deliver?
It is. It is a very expensive exercise, but it's widely commented on by visitors, and Council believes it plays an integral part in the economic development of our town. We have marvellous facilities, from doctors and dentists through to the community and sporting facilities. The presentation of our towns is a great asset when trying to attract newcomers to our region. While a smile costs nothing, the rest comes at an expense, and Council is continually consulting with the community over the costs of these services. However, it is a priority proud region, and the overwhelming show of support indicates to us that our community want the consistent towns and presentations to appear.
Now, there don't appear to be too many new items in the capital budget.
This is true, but in these tough times, we believe the community supports our actions in maintaining what we have already got rather than burden tomorrow's councils with extraordinary maintenance cost. The fact remains that what you build today, someone has to pay for tomorrow. We are mindful of this fact, and with some of the oldest infrastructure in regional Queensland, there is a lot to be maintained and replaced in the next few years. We have to draw the line somewhere.
How important is it for Goondiwindi Regional Council to consolidate ongoing main roads contracts into the future?
Well, with subsidies disappearing from the state government, it's imperative that we have the support of the current state government when it comes to these future contract works. Our staff are the men on the ground, and the Goondiwindi Regional Council has an undeniable record when it comes to reliability and expertise in the construction game. If the state government is feeding them about sustainable councils, then we must ensure the viability of those councils by guaranteeing work contracts for not just this year, but for the years ahead. We need a guarantee of these contracts if we are to retain the excellent staff that we have in our midst.
Now, how do you value the staff in your council?
Well, Pat, I cannot sing the praises of our staff loudly enough. This amalgamation process has been a long, hard and arduous task. It has been hard on the first-term council, and one can only applaud the approach taken by the staff. Gone are the days that you simply get a job on the council if nothing else is going. Our staff take ownership in their job, they're proud of their achievements, and they are proud of the job that they have within council. We have a golden rule that I believe is stuck by this council. The councillors do not interfere with the staffing issues, and council gets on with the job of running the council. After all, none of these efficiency gains would have been possible without the cooperation of the staff, and I'd like to pass on a big thank you to all of our staff.
Now, it's widely rumoured that the next election will see the inclusion of a referendum on constitutional recognition. Now, just how important is this to local government?
If councils have ever been faced with a major obstacle in years gone by, this is it. The recent court case of the chaplaincy funding by the federal government highlights just how vulnerable smaller councils like Goondiwindi Regional Council are. We rely so heavily on the funding as only 1/3 of our income is generated through rates. Imagine the result if we had to find the other 2/3 from rate increases. It would be catastrophic. Funding direct to local governments like our roads recovery is at a serious risk, and I can only urge everyone in the land to support this item when it comes up. We simply can't afford to miss this chance again.
Well, Graham, as you know, I've been to the Goondiwindi region on a number of occasions, and I can only endorse the sentiments that you've expressed here today. All of the towns in the region are a credit to the council and to your staff, and it's undoubtedly one of the most welcoming areas in the country. And I wish you all the best in the years to come, and we trust that better times are coming on the horizon. And that completes our report on the 2012-2013 Goondiwindi Regional Council budget.